Oh, hello. My name is Mara, and welcome to Books Like Woe. So this is an unexpected video because my movers decided they're not going to show up until tomorrow. So I had a little extra reading time, and I thought that I would do the first in what I'm going to be calling my yay or nay quick reviews. Basically, this is going to be for books that are relatively new, out in the last, couple of weeks or coming up in the next couple of weeks, and just being like a pretty quick, like 5-minute-ish, spoiler-free, do I think you should pick this book up or not? So yay or nay. And so I wanted to do my first one on the Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. So this is a book that came out, I believe, on January 30th, so it's still a very new release, and I just wanted to give you guys my quick thoughts about whether or not I think this is worth you picking up. So first of all, let's just talk about how gorgeous this is as a physical object. If by the end of this you think you are going to pick this up, I'd recommend getting it, just because I just think that this is a beautiful thing to have on your shelves, and I think that it is something that really sets the mood for the book itself. Now, my biggest question going into this book was whether or not it was a YA book. And let me read you the synopsis, and then I'll kind of tell you where I've landed with that, because that gets to the substance of my thoughts. So the synopsis on this is 17-year-old Alice Proserpine, I think that's how you say that, Proserpine, and her mother have spent most of Alice's life on the road, always a step ahead of the uncanny bad luck biting at their heels. But when Alice's grandmother, the reclusive author of a book of pitch-dark fairy tales, dies alone on her estate, the Hazel Wood, Alice learns how bad her luck can really get. Her mother is stolen away by a figure who claims to come from the cruel supernatural world where her grandmother's stories are set. Alice's only lead is the message her mother left behind: stay away from the Hazel Wood. Alice has long steered clear of her grandmother's cultish fans, but now she has no choice but to ally with her classmate and fairy tale superfan Ellery Finch, who may have his own reasons for wanting to help her. To find her mother, Alice must venture first to the Hazel Wood and then into the world where her grandmother's tales began, and where she might discover why her own story went so wrong. So, reading that description, I was like, well, okay, I think that this probably is a YA book. And then I was seeing who all had blurbed it, and I was like, okay, you've got School Library Journal, Kristen Kasher, Shauna McGuire, a couple of authors. I was like, okay, they must be thinking of this as YA. But actually, once I started reading this, and then definitely by the end, I would say that this is actually not a YA novel. I would actually probably classify this as basically like a Bildungsroman, which is like a coming-of-age novel that is has a lot of magical surrealism or magical realism in it. So I would actually consider this to be like adult fiction that is magical realism. And I think if you are somebody who likes YA, or who is primarily a YA reader but are looking for an adult novel to transition with, or if you're somebody who mostly reads adult novels but also likes some of the YA elements, I think that this book is a really great kind of in-between place. Similarly to how, for instance, something like Catcher in the Rye is about teenagers and definitely has a lot of sort of what we would now think of as YA themes in it. I would say that this is much more in that tradition than something like, I don't know, like something from Cassandra Clare or some of those kind of popular YA fantasy novels that are so huge on BookTube. I don't think that this is really in that tradition. I do think of this as an adult novel. I think that I'll just go ahead and say it, since we've kind of gotten through that piece of it. This is the best book I've read so far this year. I loved this book. I thought it was really, based on that description, I was expecting something very focused on plot. And this definitely has a lot of plot in it. It's a very exciting book. It moves along at a nice clip. But the characters in this are what I think are exemplary, and the kind of phrase that kept coming to my mind as I was reading this was well observed. I feel like this has a lot of beautiful little moments where Melissa Albert is kind of capturing something about the characters or about life or whatever in very simple terms that just really tell you the story powerfully. The details in here are just really fantastic, I think. I bookmarked one sentence that I was like, oh, this captures the relationship between Alice and her mom really well. It says, she took care of me and I took care of her in a symbiotic sisterly relationship that looked cute on TV but felt fucking exhausting when when you were moving for the third time in a year and don't even have a bedroom door to slam. Which, you know, it's not like that's, you know, beautiful, like lyrical writing, but I think up into that, you know, that's probably 30 or 40 pages into this book. I think up until that point, you're still kind of feeling out what that relationship is like. And that little sentence just really kind of like, okay, I get how these two characters relate to each other. And there was so many moments like that in this book. I think there's some nice representation in this book in terms of a very prominent biracial character and also some LGBTQ themes in here, so that's nice as well as a bonus. You know, it's always good when stories have that. But in terms, I don't want to get into too much detail because I really do want to keep these types of reviews spoiler free, in the sense of I really want this to be helpful in terms of if I think you should buy this or if you should get in line on this at the library, if I think it's worth your time. And like I said, this is the best book I've read so far this year. I think that this is a great book for anybody who likes any kind of like magical realism. If you're into any kind of fantasy, if you like stories about teenagers but don't necessarily always love some of the YA tropes that happen and kind of the less sophisticated themes that are in YA, and they're supposed to be right there for younger readers. I think that this has teens in it, but is a very thoughtful and sophisticated story. So all that to say, I definitely give this a yay. I think that this is definitely worth your time. And yeah, like I said, I'm just really taken with it. And yeah, I kind of want to see what else Melissa Albert might have. So this is a big yay from me. Let me know if you've read this book or if you are planning to read this book. And yeah, I would encourage you to think about picking up the hardback because I just think that this is beautiful. So anyway, I want to keep these short, to the point, so I will not ramble on anymore. I'm sorry I look a hot mess. I've been packing all day, but I did just want to get this out for you guys really quickly as sort of a little bonus video. So I hope you guys are having a really great day. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that will do it. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!